Is it good? Hello, welcome back to On The Go Wrestling Q&A. My name is Jason Hevel. I'm still here at the LCW. Just saw his match with EC3. This is Ed House. How are you feeling tonight?
Like I've been shot. No, I feel okay. I'm physically exhausted. My head is killing me. I think once I remember what happened, I'll be a little bit better, but I guess I could be worse.
You got to work at a wrestler on TV, so congratulations. How long have you been in the wrestling business?
It was 8. It'll be 8 years, or it's going on 8 years on April 15th, tax day. Why I remember that, I have no idea. I just remember it was April 15th.
So who were you trained by?
I was trained by Mark and Troy Mest. Same guys who trained Steve Carino, ECW legend, out in Blandon, Pennsylvania. They bought the school from Jimmy Dio, and it's kept it under the same name ever since Dio's Dungeon back in Blandon, Pennsylvania.
So how did the whole name of Ed House come about?
Well, it's what my mama named me, man. No, I'm just kidding. It's a poor joke. I was never a fan of super outlandish names, and it's funny, you find out wrestler names and then you get to know folks and you find out their real name, and I'm like, man, your real name is so much cooler than your wrestler name. But I chose Ed House. 2 reasons. Number one, Eddie or Ed Gillette just didn't feel like it had anything behind it. Also didn't need homosexual chants at when I first started out. Gillette razor, the best a man can get. Looking back now, I think it would be absolute gold. So if I ever want to change my name, that's what I'm going with. But I chose House off the TV show. Here was a guy who was damaged goods and a total dick, total scumbag, but he had an irresistible charm about him. You couldn't take your eyes off the guy. And the show was set up that House would get a client, or he'd get a patient, rather, because he's not a hooker. So we'd get a patient. He would diagnose the patient, not like him. His team would work on things. He would solve it. Turns out he'd be wrong. Person would almost die. He'd talk to his buddy Wilson, make fun of Wilson. House would make a smart-ass remark. Light bulb. Case closed. Patient lives. It's the same thing every episode, and you can't stop watching. And the dude was high all the time. I think there will definitely be 1 or 2 Vicodin in my future, depending on my spine and my head. All prescribed, so please, any law enforcement, it is prescribed. But no, I totally stole it from the TV show. It's a long answer.
Well, you came up with the characters, good. So, what was your inspiration getting into the wrestling business?
I think I have this really vague early memory of watching Brother Love and The Undertaker at like 2 or 3 years old at my aunt's house in New Jersey. She had this pearl kind of sandy, light pink, marbly floor with this glass awning that surrounded 3 sides of glass and an arched ceiling with a small little television. It's where the Christmas tree would always be. So I remember sitting in there watching, I said, Brother Love and The Undertaker, and being absolutely terrified of Brother Love. His all white, and his face would be red. He'd be like, I love you. And I kind of like Weinberg, but way cooler. So I responded to that, and then years later, a buddy of mine was like, oh, dude, what time is it? And I was like, 9:15, brother. Why? Like, we're playing with action figures. He's like, no, dude, we got to go watch Monday Night Raw. What's Monday Night Raw? Oh, it's pro wrestling. Dude, I don't want to watch that crap. Like, we got a good story going with these action figures. We got, like, Marvel versus DC, and the Capcom universe is over there. They're going to throw down and be the cavalry, brother. So we went upstairs, turned on the TV, and here was this. It was ridiculous at what the brain chooses to remember, but it was Ken Shamrock versus X-Pac. And if you can imagine wrestling the way it is now, where you're looking at the TV, off to your left is the entrance, commentators are off to your right, the hard cam's looking down. Off from the rafters comes this dude, big big freaking beefy man. Ken Shamrock's got the ankle lock on X-Pac. If you're looking into the ring, it's in the corner, far left, upper left of your screen. Yeah, upper left of your screen. I got hit in the head a lot, brother. Left and right, they don't jive. And after 8 o'clock, I don't do basic arithmetic either. Dude comes down, hops guardrail, hops in the ring, kicks his Ken Shamrock jabron right in the dome. And it was like Triple H, and he was coming back from like his 50th knee injury, and they did some kind of DX, like the DX thing, and I had no idea. I just thought it was awesome. Here's this big, beefy, blonde-haired, Thor-looking mamma jamma. Disregard for the rules. He's coming to help his buddy. Boom. My buddy's freaking out next to me. I have no idea what the hell's going on. That's like my first real memory, and that's when I thought, you know what, like, this is awesome, and I want to do it.
Interesting. So, can you explain what your T-shirt means?
Yeah. Basically, it's for the record. Like, if anybody, like, I didn't steal this from Brock Lesnar. I had it first. He's just famous and bigger, and if he wants me to lose it, I will, because I'm afraid. But basically, it's arrive, self-explanatory. Drop elbow, self-explanatory. Leave, again, self-explanatory. This is what I feel like confuses people. Milkshake. It has nothing to do with the song. Nobody is coming to my yard. Boys, girls, men, women, children, beast. I just really like milkshakes. It's a hot day in hell before I give up a milkshake. And the whole thing started as a joke. You wrestle, you travel, you get to know guys. Show like this, half these guys are gonna go out somewhere. Go grab some food. After food, grab a milkshake for the ride home. It was kind of my thing for a while. And somebody had made the mention of the Steve Austin shirt, arrive, raise hell, leave. And then somebody said, hey, you should do that and have like drink milkshake in there. So I thought about it, milled it over, said something to my wife, said, hey, made up the shirt. I go, what do you think about this? She goes, I hate it. It's stupid. Nobody's gonna get it. So I knew right then and there that it was money. And we had them made up, and it's kind of caught fire a little bit. This whole milkshake thing. Just some skinny fat kid from Hamburg who Red Scorpion. Some skinny fat kid from Hamburg who just drinks a lot of milkshakes, which would explain that.
So, off-topic related, what's your favorite kind of milkshake?
Strawberry's the classic. Burger King, believe it or not, has a really good Oreo milkshake. Mint chocolate chip, another great go-to. Not really big on vanilla milkshakes. It's like the milkshake equivalent of water. Now, my father-in-law loves vanilla milkshakes. Hey, the more power to him. Me, myself, I cannot. Did a little bit over at Fox's Pizza Den today. Had a raspberry milkshake. Very, very refreshing. My first ever raspberry milkshake. Absolutely amazing. But the go-to, if I got my choice, is strawberry.
Yeah, favorite pizza.
Anything with bacon, cheese. If I can't get bacon, sausage and onions, a good pizza. Old school pepperoni, you can't go wrong with. You can't beat a plain cheese pizza. Also, off topic, huge fan of white pizza with chicken and broccoli. That's my healthy pizza.
Sounds delicious.
If there is such a thing as healthy pizza.
So, wrestling related now, who would be your dream opponent?
I always said I'd love to work like a clone of myself, just so I could find out how hard I'm really hitting people. Wrestling is a show, and there's a great deal of athleticism and choreographed violence, but sometimes when you don't know somebody, you take care of people a little bit more. The more you get to know somebody, the harder you lay into them. Fans love that stuff. By the same token, the harder you lay into somebody, the better your friendship gets. So it's this vicious cycle of violence. I'd love to fight Randy, the pizza guy, just because. Maybe not now. Maybe after 15 of his milkshakes. But I mean, I've got a couple guys I've had really good matches with that I'd love to have one more with. You guys like Jason Karloff, John Cannon, Lewis Rich, Sean Carr. Yeah, I'd love to work with Red Scorpion. I think like dream match. Obviously, everybody's going to go to the famous guys. I think like famous. Oh my God, giddy schoolgirl crap in my pants would be Triple H.
Good choice. So, you like wrestling as the heel or the face?
Being the babyface, being the good guy is much more rewarding. People come to the show. They want to see you win. They want to cheer for you, and they get emotionally involved in you to the point where they need to see you win. They also might want to buy your T-shirts, buy your pictures, this, that, and the other, which is all great. And when you do finally win, it is rewarding. When you don't win, it's nice to know that people wanted to see that. At the same time, I mean, I really enjoy being the guy who gets to say, you know what, screw you people. Like, I'm going to do it my way, and I don't need you. And to get them worked up to the point where you put the babyface over enough where it could be, you know, it could be, you know, Joseph von Schmidt and Hitler. Schmidt's the heel. He's going to do his job so that people want to see Hitler win. It's probably a bad example. He'd rather team with Hitler because they're both two German dudes. You know, maybe Mussolini. I don't know. Or the devil. The devil, you know. But people want to see the heel's got to be the guy who puts the baby face over. And a lot of guys now, I think, are in it for themselves. They want to put themselves over, you know. Case in point tonight, I wrestled EC3, came into Lancaster. These people should be excited to see him because he's the famous guy from TV. Came in, total douche, did his thing, but he got me over. You know, he went out of his way to help get me over. You know, that's what a good heel does.
So what has been some of your most physical injuries you've had?
It kind of the biggest one. I tore my ACL training of all things. I turned into the ropes, and the canvas was loose, so my lower body stayed planted in the mat, and everything above my knee spun. So that was my first one. That's really my only wrestling related injury. I mean, I tore my AC joint, my acromion clavicular joint, where your collarbone sits on top of your shoulder blade. There's a little ligament there that connects the two. I tore that, giving a guy a back elbow. Not wrestling related. I broke my collarbone. I broke my forearm. I took an ice cream scoop, chunk of meat out of my ankle. You know, chair shots and stuff. You know, they split you open. Broke my back in a couple places, all in a car accident, which, you know, like I walked out of. It would have killed the normal man, but I fell out of my car looking for my door. It was 60 feet behind me, so laying on the side of the road in a bloody mess of giggles, I looked up. I mean, this whole finger here, you see the scar has been cut, and tendon flopping around in the breeze. I still can't like bend it much, but I mean, you're always gonna have bumps and bruises. But the biggest one, wrestling related, was definitely my my ACL in my left knee.
Tell you, wrestling is definitely, you got to be trained. Kids, do not try what's going on at home. So what do you like to do outside of pro wrestling?
I'm a huge fan of I mean, anything film. I love to paint. I went to a four-year university graduated with a fine arts degree, so I really love art and just anything art related. I mean, just like going to museums. My wife and her family are from Northern Virginia. Great thing about that area is you go to the National Gallery, Udvar Hazy, Air and Space Museum. It's all free. If you want to go to the Met or if you want to go to MoMA, the Museum of Modern Art, you have to pay for all that, or donations for all of that. You go to the National Gallery, the Smithsonian, it's all free, man. You just walk in, enjoy the stuff, bang, bang, boom. There's a lot of great stuff in there. You know, there's old school stuff, some new school stuff. Really, really nice. I love music. I love show tunes. Like, I'm a huge like musical fan. Huge comic book fan. And anything I can do that involves music, comic books, a huge television fan. Like, I'm so pissed, Chandra Rhimes, that you killed Patrick Dempsey. House needs his McSteamy. McDreamy. Well, they killed him too. The whole McEverything is dead. I'm so frustrated that Patrick Dempsey is done. But I mean, it's one of those, like, you can't hate that, man, 'cause it was so well written. No, I love movies. I love TV. Like, I'm a dad. I got a kid. Like, just watching him like learn how to do stuff, and then overcome it. Going from crawling to walking, like, it's the cool. As much as I love this and being a part of this world, as soon as I take my stuff off, I go back to being a normal guy. And there's nothing more rewarding than taking that 30-pound bag of snakes that's sleeping in the back seat and plopping them in the crib. And just, oh, it's so cool, man. It's so cool being this little tank's dad.
So you say you like comic books. Are you Marvel or DC?
I'm a Marvel guy. But I mean, it's all my stuff is Marvel. You know, like, I grew up watching Marvel and everything. So I'm definitely a Marvel guy.
So if they ever made a movie about Ed House, what actor could play you, and what would the title be?
Yeah, I think it would be Untitled, and maybe Nicolas Cage, but not Nicolas Cage now. Like The Rock Nicolas Cage, and you might need
Con Air Nicolas Cage, right?
Yeah,
Like the good Nick Cage.
Yeah, not like Ghost Rider Nicolas Cage, but definitely like Con Air, The Rock.
Man.
No, definitely not Wicker Man. No, God, I forgot about Wicker Man.
Oh, remember the bees.
Yeah,
the bees.
Oh,
I know this is a bad comparison, but you do kind of look like Edward Furlong, younger.
Kid from Terminator, not bad.
And the name of his movie would be The House That Ed House Built by Ed House.
That'd be a good title.
Write the foreword for the book.
I
Awesome.
already know you like the back of my hand.
That's because I think it came in contact with almost every part of my body.
It's not your butt cheeks.
No.
So what's going to be your next upcoming shows?
I'm going to be in Quarryville. This is joint promotion, LCW and CCW, Classic Championship Wrestling out of Enola, where I'm going to be taking on Gene Snitsky. After that, my schedule opens up, which is quite nice. Get to spend some more time at home and hang out, maybe get some overtime in at the shoot job, and kind of go from there.
So where can we find out information on Ed House?
You can ask my wife. No, I had a Twitter, I had an Instagram. I don't really have a Facebook. Well, I mean, I have a Facebook, but it's more me than I promote my wrestling things. Ed House does not have a Facebook. But you can definitely check out Lancaster Championship Wrestling. Every time these people have a show, I will be here. Mid-Atlantic Wrestling Alliance out of Sewell, New Jersey. Run by a guy who had a big hand in training me, David Dutch, Dave Patera. Again, Classic Championship Wrestling, Rob Noxious, CCW. High Voltage, Chris Layton runs a company up in Shenandoah, Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania Championship Wrestling Superstars. A couple companies here and there. One of them, unfortunately, just went under. Trying to get back in with Valor Pro Wrestling, run by Artemis Walls. So I've got a couple outlets there that folks can come check me out.
So you can check me out on Facebook.com, QA Wrestling, YouTube, The Indie Wrestling Fan. You can also check my movie reviews on Heavy J Real Picks on Facebook. Check him out on Facebook. Come to his shows. Wherever there's a house, it's Ed House. Wherever there's a show, I'm always on the go. Any closing words?
That's T-shirt right there. Anywhere there's a show, I'm on the go. You hear that? That's them printing money right now. No, I do want to say, anybody watching this, if you're a wrestling fan, thank you very much. You people are the reason why we come out here, do this for little to no money. It's not because of the money. It's because people like you let to get me to live a childhood dream. The little 9-year-old kid in me who wanted to play with wrestling figures or comic book figures is happier than a pig in mud right now, man. It's because of you people going to your crappy jobs or your excellent jobs and spending your hard-earned money that you could spend it on anything else. But you guys choose to come see a wrestling show and watch 50 of us live a dream, man. I love it. Thank you, guys.
Yep. Thank you for your time, Ed. Once again, this is Ed House. I'm Jason Hevel, On The Go Wrestling, signing out.